from Duo Beard. What is your favorite class or job in an RPG? My favorite class in RPGs has always been thieves. Especially Western style RPGs. I feel like, yeah, favorite class has been thieves. Thieves, and rogues. Especially in Western RPGs, because I feel like it's probably the most broken class in Western RPGs, because I feel like when you are a successful thief, you get something for literally nothing. That is the point. And it's so broken. It's hard to balance for that, because they can't like arrest you, your character. They can arrest you in game, but there's not really like a real penalty for that. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I'll just wait here for a moment unless I can sneak out of jail like in Oblivion or something. You know, I feel like thieves are just so broken and awesome. And also I like the really fast kinds of characters. I think I'm thinking of the thief from Seiken Densetsu 3, Trials of Mana, the guy with the blue hair and the two daggers. He was a super cool dude. And that guy always, I don't remember much about his story, but I remember really liking playing as that character for some reason. I think it was the two daggers thing. It just looked cool. And also that's how you get all like the really rare loot, right? What RPG had the best story from Eric Rick? And why is it Suikoden 2? Actually, well, actually, the story that I enjoyed the most was probably Persona 2 Innocent Sin. And it's kind of a choice that I don't think a lot of people would make. And it's not the overarching story so much that was so deeply impactful, but the cast of characters and the way that they played off of one another, their history together. It just made for such a surreal experience. I don't know how best to explain this, but it felt truly magical in a way that a lot of other games just don't capture. It felt more like real friendships. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to go play through Eternal Punishment right after that. And, well, needless to say, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment was still really good, but it featured a completely different cast as your playable characters, and I was actually really disappointed by that. That was, I think, the one that, at least, if not being the best, it surprised me the most for how amazing it was. But, I mean, you know, the whole Suikoden 2 story about war and stuff was also really good. You know, it really drove home the futility, the hopelessness of war, the devastation that it causes. I just felt like Luca Blight is a really good bad guy, but a really bad character. At least that's how I feel about it at the moment. Maybe a subsequent follow-up playthrough would change my mind about it. Michael Guerra asked your top 5 level 5 RPGs. Top 5 level 5 RPGs. That's a lot of RPGs. Instead, I'll just give you my top 3. Number 1 at the top of the list, Dark Cloud 2. Number 2, Rogue Galaxy. Number 3, Dark Cloud 1. Those are some really good games. I highly recommend them. Especially Dark Cloud 2, obviously. Usually that's on PS4. It goes on sale pretty often for like the HD version of it, the upscaled version. I think it would be really worthwhile if you ever see that go on sale. Pick it up. Derek has said it before, his favorite console is the Super Nintendo, unless that's changed. I guess that was probably in reference to somebody's question there, Tom. Also, guys, if you ask me questions, I think you can @ me and it'll actually highlight your question. But yeah, favorite console. I think my favorite console for RPGs right now, like my favorite classic console, like that the RPGs were made for, is probably still Super Nintendo. The reason I was saying it like that, though, is that I feel like, you know, the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, could when you hack it, it could play a bunch of games. It could play Super Nintendo, it could play Genesis, Game Boy Advance. I think it could play some Nintendo 64 games. I might be wrong about that, but it could definitely play PlayStation games natively, and that was amazing. Most replayed RPG? Probably Secret of Mana. What's your favorite pasta noodle shape? Bow tie. What is your favorite Dragon Quest game? Oh, 11, I think. It might be 8, but if it's not, it's 11. What do you think of the Borderlands series? More like Boring Lands. Where would you rank the PS1? Right above the Super Nintendo, or right below it, rather. What's your favorite RPG soundtrack? Chrono Cross. Favorite JRPG toilet? Breath of Fire 2, the one where you go in it, and then I think there are some witches that are like cannibals or something. So far. What story has moved you to tears the most? The favorite story that has moved me to tears, I mean, Earthbound was the first one, I think, but the one that has consistently moved me to tears, Terranigma, man. Every time, man, that ending just guts me every single time. Terranigma is right up there with Chrono Trigger for the best SNES game. I agree, Tom. It's really Terranigma, man. It is definitely top 3 SNES RPG material. First, last, what games do you have to ban yourself from playing again for the nth time? That's basically everything from my childhood. I've had to ban myself from playing Chrono Trigger, Earthbound. Just like I said in the beginning of this stream in my speech. I said that basically I had to ban myself from playing the same things over and over, and that was actually one of the impetus for actually starting my review channel, was that it would force me to get through my backlog instead of just replaying the same things over and over. Let's see, what are your thoughts on action RPGs? My favorite's Kingdom Hearts 1. I love action RPGs, man. I played through all of the Kingdom Hearts not too long ago and reviewed them all, and I'm a little worn out on them at the moment, but I like them a lot. I think my current favorite one, my favorite modern action RPG, was probably Ys 8, though. What is your all-time most favorite RPG? From Red Stratus. Which game is the very top of the list for you? And this is something that I get a lot, actually. And it's a question that I can't ever answer, because it just really depends on my mood. I think that RPGs are overall like a really subjective experience. And, you know, depending on what I just played, I might be more into action RPGs or turn-based RPGs, or I might really be feeling a retro game. I think that I've got this list that is on current rotation in my, as like the top like 5 in my mind. That usually doesn't change too much from year to year, but right now I'm having a hard time thinking. And this music is not helping me, because I kind of want to play Final Fantasy X right now. I think it might be affecting my decision-making ability right now, though. Terranigma. Right now. Right this very moment, Terranigma. Let's see. If you could only ever play one turn-based RPG from now until the end of time, what would it be and why? Asks Red Mage 87. Oh, alright. Asking the tough questions here, huh? That is a cruel thing to impose upon anybody. You know, maybe Persona 5. Because in the event that I just don't feel like playing the game anymore, at least I'd still have a solid soundtrack to just listen to all the time, right? I feel like that would probably be the closest thing to a game that that would have multiple uses.